Welcome to Claris Talk AI. This is Matt Navarre, and I have been live at the CodeWave conference in Valencia, Spain for the last couple of days, April 25th and 6th. And I had two lovely conversations, one with Javier Durá, who's the co-sponsor of the event, and one with Doug Wallis, the platform evangelist for Claris. Enjoy. All right. Javier. Hello, sir.
Good to see you.
It's really exciting to be at your conference for the first time.
It's your first time in Valencia?
First time in Valencia, first time at CodeWave.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been doing this for 30 years? How long?
No, we started doing an event called FM Valencia back in 2008.
Okay.
And then we have been organizing many FileMaker events.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, we stopped because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
But last year we made our first CodeWave, and now it's the second year. So
Okay.
The main news is that this is in Valencia, which is not the main city in Spain, but we live here, and that's the reason why.
It's a much larger city than I thought, with the 8-lane highways and whatnot across the street here. Yeah, so I guess it's what, Madrid first, and then...
Yeah, Madrid, Barcelona, and Valencia.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah. Okay, so, and you live here, and there's people from all over Spain, but what I was surprised and happy to see is there's people from really all over Europe here.
This event is in Spanish because I want to have a Spanish event.
Yeah.
Because there's a there's a big community here.
Mm-hmm.
There are many events in English, so we want to differentiate a little bit of those events. And not all the people in Spain can speak English, so I think that it's important to have this event in Spanish, and also to have an event close to that people. We don't need to travel so far away to have a good FileMaker event. So if they can have an event in maybe 2-hour trip in a train, that's perfect.
I know, it's great. Yeah, it's close to both the other cities by train, 2 or 3 hours. Yeah. So, so my session and I think Doug's session, the opening one, were in English. Mm-hmm. I found a plugin or an extension for Chrome that translated in real time from English to Spanish. So there was basically a super title on the screen.
Really useful.
Yeah. It would also be useful for all of the Spanish sessions to have that Spanish to English, because I think there's about 8 people here that don't speak Spanish well.
We have Douglas, we have Ben, and 2 the people from Belgium.
Yeah.
So maybe you should have told me that first.
I didn't know. I found the thing last night because I thought it would be a good idea, and it was it's free, and it was much more effective than I even thought. So
maybe next year we can do it.
Yeah. It'd be easy enough to do. Just like make a little space on your screen. So, how many people are here at the conference?
We have 61 attendees, plus 10 more people that can just attend to what we call the offline event. Mm-hmm. We have a special dinner at the casino, and then we have a stand-up comedian.
Yes.
In Spanish. That's what's really funny, Raul Anton.
I heard, except thick accent and
Yeah. I mean, everybody was laughing from the first moment, and he's a nice guy.
You can't really translate that one.
No. There's a lot of jokes that, it's not.
Yeah, it's a situational
possible.
Yeah, I know, but still, I'm glad it was fun for everybody here. So you're right. That's quite a large community, 61 people. I don't know that any other country in Europe has that many developers that I can think of at a local language conference. I know there's one in France, and the one that used to be in Berlin is now going to be in Vienna. That's Vienna Calling.
Yeah, that's
and that one's in English. The one in Italy is kind of in Italian and English. One year they actually translated it. It's been in Rome, but it's going to be in a different city this year.
But they moved to only English.
Yeah.
And then Evelyn decided not to do any other Rome FileMaker week, but she changed her mind, and now they moved to Naples.
Yeah.
Naples, and in October it will be that event in Naples.
Yeah, Naples in English. And then, well, it's okay, Espanol. Hispania. Hispania is the Greek for Spain. And then there's a November conference in Antwerp. That's
Yeah,
Engage.
that's the big
Yeah,
European
that's a big one.
one. I think that we can compare Engage U with Engage in the State. I mean, Engage
Yeah, kind
U
of.
has become a very big event. Uh, Johan and Joris, they are making
Yeah.
a good job working on this event. Many people attending from the States, from Claris, and it's the one to be, of course. I mean, we have this event in Spain because we prefer that people meet each other in person. In fact, we are not offering any kind of streaming or online tickets or so on.
Right.
No, no,
Yeah.
because we want them to take a train, to have the opportunity to
Yes.
meet each other, at each
Absolutely.
other.
Yeah, and you did everything right. All the good things about FileMaker conferences in the past, you nailed 100%. It's in a lovely hotel, not an expensive price.
Yeah.
The social events were great, very well planned, and really good to. I've met a lot of people and had really, really good networking.
Yeah, you know what I do with Jesus, my colleague, we prepare this event. What I try to do is make the things that I like to have in any events that I attend. I've been
Yes.
attending DECMOS, for example, in the state
Yes.
since San Diego in 2018.
Yeah, the good ones. Yeah.
And I know that if I am in a room, I want my table with enough space for my laptop. I want to be able to plug my computer.
Yep.
I want a good Wi-Fi connection, good food, of course.
Lunch
So
was great yesterday.
yeah. So if we are organizing an event, makes sense that we
Yeah.
get all these things. So
Yeah.
it's not always easy because it's only it's a small event.
Yeah.
So probably you go to a hotel, they say no, we need 200 people, or you need to book in advance 50 rooms or
Yeah.
100 rooms. But we are really happy with this venue this year.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, people come to me and say, "Hey, nice hotel, nice room, good
Absolutely.
internet connection, good
Yeah.
screen."
Yeah,
So-
actually, you can even use the conference internet in your room.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the meeting internet is available not only at the here, but it's also in the room, which is great. I think it's higher speed. Yeah, there's so much about this that I have really enjoyed, and the sessions have been very technical. Many of them, which is great. I'm going to need the slides because to be
Yeah,
able to look
one
at.
of the things that we want from people, from speakers, is that they open FileMaker.
Yes.
We don't know only a keynote.
Yeah.
We want to know the scripts workspace.
Yeah.
In other, the under the hood, how do you do this?
Yeah, I'm
And-
glad to hear that because I thought most of my presentation was.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because this is a technical event, and we want technical session. We are FileMaker developers.
Yes.
I don't want you to tell me that FileMaker is a great tool.
Right.
We all know that.
yeah, show me. Yeah.
So show me one technique or two or three, something that when I arrive to my office next Monday, I be able to replicate that or to copy that script
Yeah.
or that custom function
Yes.
and start using it immediately. That's the point, and that's something that we ask to the speakers to do.
Yeah, that's good. And I've seen definitely that in some, not all sessions, but many. Some of them have been more informational and like background, extremely good knowledge to have and good messages. It didn't necessarily need to be FileMaker.
Yeah.
And I really value that too.
Yeah, we need to use
like
the right tools for
Nicholas's.
the right situation. And we have FileMaker, which is like a hub that can connect almost to everything. And we have to be aware of any API or system or whatever that is outside that we can include in our FileMaker solutions that can give some additional value to our applications. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Were there challenges? What are the difficulties and work that you have to do to put on something like this?
Sometimes they ask for things that FileMaker or Claris Connect or Studio cannot do. So, for example, I gave a session, how can we send one Boolean question to 400 waiters asking if they can work one particular date. This solution is for a catering company here in Spain. And what I propose, and they accept, is to connect FileMaker with Typeform. So via API, we create a Typeform form, and then we send a link to the waiter, and he just click yes or no, submit. And that answer goes from Typeform to Claris Connect to FileMaker, and the answer is there immediately.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And it's a yes or
it goes
no.
by SMS, I guess. A text message.
No, I mean they used to work with
Well, how does the message go out to the waiter?
email.
To the server?
Yeah,
By email.
by email.
Okay.
Yeah, I create the form and I send a link via email to the waiter.
Okay.
He clicked the link,
Yeah.
open that form, but this is a particular form just for this waiter and for this event.
Most likely, I'm guessing that they're going to be using it on their mobile phone, so they'll open up the email and it'll go to a page and kind of be formatted for that. That's why I was wondering if it was an SMS message, like a text or WhatsApp or something. I think there was a WhatsApp integration session.
Yeah, there was a WhatsApp integration, but this is a really important difference between SMS and WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Because SMS is a standard, like a standard.
Not so much here, though.
No, because most of the people move to WhatsApp.
Yeah.
But WhatsApp is a private app from a private company, from Meta.
Yeah.
So there's many things you should consider before moving from SMS.
Yeah. I use. It seems like in Greece, most people use Viber.
Viber.
Viber, yeah.
Here in Spain.
Yeah, interesting. And then Telegram. I don't use Signal. There's a super funny story about that in the US. So I have like a lot of them, right? Like Facebook Messenger. I have like 5 different apps to communicate with different people because they all have different ones they prefer.
You know, nowadays, if you receive a WhatsApp, you really don't mind. You receive hundreds of them.
Yeah.
But if you receive a text, an SMS, you read it because maybe it comes from the government, from the health system. So the important pieces of information come from SMS, from text, not from WhatsApp.
That's very country specific.
Yeah, but that's what happened in Spain, as much as I know.
Good to know. Yeah, I guess when we're getting a little off topic, but it's interesting, I think. So in living in Europe, from America, you still must have a US phone number to be able to like log onto your bank and to log onto a lot of sites that require a message. Most of those sites cannot send a message to an international phone, and they also can't send to a WhatsApp for the US. So they have to send an SMS to a US phone number. So
yeah, in fact, we here in Spain, you can integrate FileMaker with third-party companies that can send an SMS, and when you receive the SMS, the sender is not a number but a name. For example, in my case, I can say Afterdata, hello, whatever. But that's something that is not allowed in the United States.
yeah,
It should be a number.
yeah, that's true. Interesting.
Different countries.
Yeah. Let's get back to the conference.
Okay.
We can nerd out about anything all day long. So I guess I just want to say thank you for doing it. It's been really, really valuable to be here. So the closing session's later today.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm just trying to think of other things about it that you've done that I really like. Well, what do you want to say about it otherwise?
Well, there's a lot of work behind this event. And there's only 2 companies, dbFile from my colleague Jesús and me. So I encourage any other partner, any other company or any other developer that wants to host an event in his city. Come on, just do it. We are here to help or to share our experience or our knowledge, because it's not that much, because many people say, okay, Javier and Jesús are hosting this event, so they are the ones. No, I mean, the most important thing is that we have the space to meet each other. It doesn't have to be a nice hotel. It can be a bar, a small room. That's not the most important thing.
Like yesterday, after the conference and before the dinner, in Spain, dinner's at 9:00. like a significant number of people, I don't know, 30 people, all were together socializing at an Irish pub down the street. That was amazing.
And
It was
good
great.
weather.
Yeah, and good weather. Yeah, because otherwise we would have been inside, right? No big deal. But that planning is something that I think is also extremely valuable. You have the networking down, and I really appreciate it. I think I would really encourage people from the U.S. too, which is I think maybe most of the people who listen to and watch this podcast. Come to Europe. The conferences here are amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Of course. And of course, thank you for attending.
Oh, of course,
So
yeah.
your session has been very valuable for most of the attendees.
good. I hope so.
Especially for those that are not using JSON yet. You know, every time you talk about JSON, I say you should start learning JSON right now.
Yeah.
Stop doing whatever you're doing now and
Well,
learn JSON.
I mean, that's like a push approach, right? But what I was trying to do was show, hey, these are some really great use cases that solves really basic FileMaker problems. Like one of them I'll just mention. Every single database I've seen that's old has some fields in it that you don't think are needed anymore.
Yeah.
You can't just delete them because you might need them. And maybe there's a couple of layouts that still have them on there and you don't know. Maybe some users use it, maybe they don't. And sometimes there's a lot of them. So one method that I have is you make a JSON field in that table, and then you use a JSON set element that puts in the name of the field and the value in the field, and you have all of them. So if you've got 10 fields, you can just basically set those 10 values in there. Then after you replace the contents of the JSON field with that data, append it to whatever was already there, then you can delete those fields safely. And then if there's layouts that need it, you can use a JSON get element from that data, from the JSON, and then you can display it on the layout. So you lose nothing except the ability to enter data or to search. But if those fields are most likely being deleted, and then if you need to reinstate the field, all you have to do is recreate the field and then use the replace command to grab the data from the JSON. And so it's totally undoable way to safely delete fields.
JSON is a great way to save data. In fact, all the register process of the registration that we made for this event was made via Claris Studio, Claris Connect, and then FileMaker. So what we did is as soon as a new record is created in Claris Studio, it sends that information, a big JSON, to Claris Connect, and then we just create a record in a FileMaker database.
Interesting. So you're not using the direct connection from Connect or from Studio to FileMaker. Yeah.
So far, it doesn't work as expected. It's really, really slow after that, making a search.
Yeah, it's true.
So what we do is we create a new record in a FileMaker table, and we fill JSON field. That's it. I mean, a text field with this JSON, with the whole JSON. And after that, with our auto introductions, we get the information that we need.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's easy, right? Because when you get the data from Studio, it's going to give you the data in JSON anyway, because that's what Connect does. It wraps up the table data from whatever source into JSON. Yeah. JSON, like I said in the thing, it's basically kind of my religion right now.
Yeah, and now if you think about how we worked back in FileMaker 15 or so, I think, how can we live without JSON?
I know. Yeah.
In those days.
Well, I just didn't know what I didn't know at the time, So I'm pretty diehard FileMaker, and JSON's been around for a very long time.
Yeah, but there's some people that say I'm too old to learn JSON. I say no.
It's just so easy.
No, and it's easy.
Yeah, to start.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you for attending the event, and thank you for this chat.
Of course. Thanks.
Bye.
Doug, hello.
Hey Matt, how you doing?
Very good. My fellow evangelist.
Thank you. Yeah, that's my new title now from Claris.
Hey, what was it before?
So I've been doing multiple stuff at Claris, been there for about 11 years. Essentially started like a lot of the guys in the company, a system engineer, which is kind of evangelism. I moved to the product team after COVID, and then about a year ago moved back to evangelism with Rick Kalman. The idea behind it is we do great products, but we do realize that we don't actually talk enough to the community. We don't actually explain a lot of things that we do. So the idea was actually have people that know the product, know how it's been built, to actually talk to customers and partners and say, this is what you can do.
And then I think before that, you had been a FileMaker developer forever, yeah?
Yeah, I was one of those guys who basically fell in love with FileMaker back in '98, just stumbled into it with my first company that I worked with. Was amazed how quickly you can actually learn it, some of the stuff that you can do. I was creating some exports in XML for a large customer that we had where people were just amazed.
You were telling me about it. It sounded really complex.
It was, well, the thing, it was complex in other languages, but in FileMaker, it made it so easy with the calculation engine of creating XML export that was just overwhelmed with what I can do, and I used it as a user for about 15 years, and then end up sort of starting working for the company, and because I love the software, I was like, this is basically the best job on the planet. Like, I get to actually use it and influence the way it's been built.
Yeah.
And explain to people how to use it. So
your opening session was amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Presented really well, also great information. Perfect teasers about the things that are coming, openly shared. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to like revisiting the slides. I think not only that, but there's actually useful things you can do right now, like in the current version. So thanks for that.
Yeah. A lot of the work that we're doing now on the FileMaker, especially on the server, is like we've mentioned in Claris Engage and what I did yesterday, was talking about our vision of how we want people to be able to actually use AI. And the vision that we have is at Claris, we build basically the tools so that you can actually do whatever you want with it. And we did realize that with FileMaker 21, we had a lot of people going I want to start using AI in my system, but I'm not really sure whether I want to use OpenAI or other providers. And if I want to use an OpenLLM, it's kind of sort of takes a bit of work to actually use it first time around, to install it and everything. Yeah. So we had the engineer go how could we actually use what everyone knows in FileMaker, which is the admin console, and the click of a button, everything works. And what I showed yesterday, what people will be able to actually get when FileMaker 2025 comes out this summer, is at a quite quick button, you'll have OpenLM running on your server, and you can get your file and then start enjoying all the benefit from AI.
Yeah, well, if you don't want to use the other models now, but that'll be great to be able to have it so local. And then RAG also haven't been able to do.
RAG as well, fine tuning, everything that people need to actually sort of
That's amazing, because those are hard to do right now, I think.
They are hard to do, and it is kind of scary because there's a lot of, there's a bit of learning that you have to get into. So we're doing by steps. Like when we launched FileMaker 2024, we were trying to get people to go the first step to actually learn is the difference between index searching in FileMaker and semantic search. Yeah. Because your mentality, the way of looking at your system is actually changing. Yes. So if you get people to actually kind of do step by step, once we have RAG and fine tuning, if they understand how semantic search works, it's going to be easier for them to actually sort of go to the next step. Yeah. So.
I'm doing an all-day AI class using a lot of these use cases. Yeah. Because I really strongly believe in finding some good solid use cases. You present some of those. May 28th, it'll be available online. Cool. Zoom or in person at the Toronto Elevate FM conference.
That'll be great.
So yeah, and unfortunately that's probably going to be just not long before the next version ships. But I believe there's still so much you can do even with the tools you have now.
With what you have now, you can do a huge amount of stuff. Yeah. Even just using the basic sort of insert from URL, you can communicate with pretty much everything.
Which was daunting for me, like when I started using it however long ago. Yeah. But and so I think some FileMaker developers still haven't really delved in. Yeah. So what I always try to do is provide an example file. It's just so easy, right? I mean, you copy and paste the curl command, you copy and paste that, and then everything just works, right? There's some stuff to tweak, but then if something's broken, you go, hey, copy and paste that to ChatGPT and say, what did I do wrong? And it tells you what to fix.
It is nice, yeah.
It's perfect.
And so one of the work that Rick and I actually sort of working on this sort of platform evangelism side is to build demo. But demo that people can actually sort of use.
Yes.
Funny, yesterday I showed a quick demo of doing performant semantic find on images, and I had like 4 or 5 people saying, "Can I hack the copy of the system?" I said, "Yeah, there you go, play with it."
I want that too, by the way.
And I'll get it to you later on. And that's how you actually get people to actually start using it, because one of the most daunting thing in software development is when you start with a blank page. Like if you don't actually have a use case, you have nothing to actually work with. It's really hard to actually sort of get into.
Yeah, exactly.
And FileMaker, first-time users, they had this issue: is they load up FileMaker and you have this blank screen and you have maybe a couple of fields, but you have no idea exactly where you're going. So by providing a couple of quick examples, then you get people to go, okay, I get what I can
And
do
with
with it.
and yeah, that's absolutely the case, I think, with semantic find and with generative AI. But I think it's going to be even more so with fine tuning and RAG.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of other things you just have to know to do that, and if the sample file just has it, it's like, oh, yeah, this is what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be great.
And yeah, it's. I think we're getting there in the way that. I mean, I've seen basically the uptake of a year ago when we first talked about AI, and now this conference in Valencia and the other conferences coming in Europe, of how many people are basically getting on board and really sort of going is, it's not whether I do it, because I'm going to be able, I'm going to do it, is I've got to find a use case, find the time maybe in my work calendar to actually be able to actually sort of do it, but I've got to basically sort of get in there.
Yes.
And that is the one thing which I think is really nice with this community, is people are moving forward. We have a lot of people sort of, even though they look back of, hey, but FileMaker 15 was great.
Yeah.
But we have people sort of looking forward and going, is there is something different coming to that market. I need to be there because I'm going to get my customers, if you're your partner, saying, hey, by the way, I've heard everything about AI. What can you do for me?
Exactly.
And once you have that, and when you can prove, hey, I can do this really quickly, people go, okay. And they're going to fall in love more with Claris FileMaker and all the stuff they're going to do with Studio and Connect, where AI is going to play, going to be a part.
You made a really excellent point in the keynote. You talked about how FileMaker developers are actually better positioned than almost anybody else to integrate AI and help their customers. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so a FileMaker developer has a great position because when they're creating the software for the customers internally, they look at everything. You have to know how design works, you have to go UX principles, you understand how the data works, the data fields, how the data kind of moves around. So you have a global view of what everything does.
Yeah, I think actually the business, they understand the actual mission of the business and they've worked directly with the users.
And they talk to the business users, like you're saying, is they actually, people asking them, can you do this? And get, yeah, of course. And so because you already have this extended knowledge of how the system works, when you basically start applying, whether it's vector embedding or fine tuning or something such, you actually know where the data is. And so when you look at what FileMaker does in the background, because we have log file that kind of tells you what it does in the background, you're able to really understand quickly what FileMaker is actually sort of doing. And when you have, like, let's say you have the AI log in the background, you can see how your FileMaker sort of script steps is actually being transformed into the JSON request that's being made to the LLM. And because you understand where everything is, you actually sort of know what you can do and how to actually use it really quickly. And I think it's a really good advantage for our community, is they have a better, I think, understanding of the app they actually work with than in other sort of environments.
Back up for a second and tell me more about like how you can get the log data to know. Is this after you've integrated AI, or just like looking at the database before you do work?
So as soon as you have basically a new script where you're going to basically connect to your AI to some stuff, you can actually have a script that called set AI logging.
Yes.
And it creates the log file. And inside it basically will tell you everything that it's doing to exchange your data. So it's going to show you in a couple of examples when you actually do the request, what is the input, what it's talking to, and stuff like that. So it's getting you to actually understand how the JSON actually is sort of done in the background. And it's a nice way to start learning JSON. Like you had a great session this morning. And this is the other thing that people have to actually learn a bit, is actually JSON, because a lot of what we do inside the FileMaker engine is using sort of JSON to be able to get the data to the LLM and back and forth and stuff like that. So there is that learning part of it. But as you were saying in your great session, and actually JSON isn't that complex to actually sort of learn. It's just taking a bit of time to actually sort of go through the schemas and the documentation. But once you actually figure out what it can do, then you get into this sort of idea of there's a lot more stuff that you can do with it.
Yeah.
And so the work that we've been doing internally for the next version of FileMaker is improving basically the way that JSON is calculated inside of FileMaker. Currently, it does a lot of back and forth to validate between the FileMaker data types and the JSON data types, and that's just overdoing it, which is why sometimes it's a bit slow. So we've done a lot of work to make it even quicker. We've got a new script that's just going to be called JSON parse, that's basically going to really parse JSON properly and really quickly. And so people are going to see real improvement in the way that JSON works, and even on the XML side of it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the launch of it, because it's one of the sort of I think release that where the engineers has been really working very nicely together and with partners. And we've been listening. We had multiple ETS in the background, and really getting the feedback from the user saying is, okay, this is what we think we should be doing. Is it going to be useful for you? Are you going to be able to actually leverage it from the time it comes out really quickly? And how we are basically going to be able to explain to people what it does, how they use it, and how it's going to improve basically the decision that they had.
So in addition to like making these demo files and showing the deep understanding of that you just described, and I see you at all the conferences in Europe that I go to, and I think in the US as well. What do you want to be doing as an evangelist for Claris? And how can I help?
So one of the things that for me that I'm trying to actually sort of get into is, so this year FileMaker is 40 years old. We have a huge amount of customers using the latest versions, but we have a huge amount of people that basically used FileMaker a long time ago and moved out of it because they thought it was outdated for whatever reason. And I want to find ways to actually get those people back on track, because they came to FileMaker maybe 30 years ago, 20 years ago for a specific reason. They moved away, and in a lot of cases when they come back to us, they moved away for the wrong reason, whether it was internal sort of decision, whatever. And
Yeah,
but
I don't think
they fell in love with it at some time.
Well, FileMaker databases, once you build them, they just work.
Yeah.
Right. So if you don't, so like the person who originally made it, when they leave the company or whatever, no one else knows how to maintain it, but they continue using it until sometime later someone else comes in and says, oh yeah, let's just do something else, which doesn't work as well. I've seen people fail.
So
I think that's actually what usually happens though.
Yeah. So we have this great community of people that used to actually use FileMaker, and we haven't got as many new developers in the market. Lucky enough, here in Spain, in the conference, there's a lot of new talent, both male and female, which is great. But it's kind of hard to actually sometimes get people to go, why would you actually fall in love in FileMaker and work with it? So the work that I'm doing, part of it now, is actually working with Apple. There is a strategic initiative called the Apple Developer Academy, which is basically teaching students in nearby universities how to use Swift. And one of the things that we realized in a lot of cases is FileMaker works kind of nicely in this environment, because when you're trying to create an app, when you do Swift, there's a lot of learning. It takes a long time to be a good developer. And what we do realize that with FileMaker, to be able to actually do a POC, it's really nice.
Yeah.
And the learning that we actually sort of give to them is, there's the technical learning around FileMaker, but the business sort of knowledge that you get when you actually do stuff in FileMaker makes you actually a better developer.
I agree totally. Yeah.
And so we're doing quite a bit of work with them, and what we're trying to do is actually increase that to actually be able to actually do that globally, so that we can go to customers and say, hey, you're looking for new developers. There is a huge bunch of new talent looking for this type of jobs. They just don't want to be software developers. They want to be partners of you in the tech world. And we have some, like in Naples, we've done some stuff. We've done some stuff now in Detroit, and we have some good results. So what I want to do is actually extend that to having that sort of globally and to different environments, because I do believe the software can keep on going for the next another 40 years easily. We just need to find the talent.
Well, as an educator, I would certainly love to be involved with that.
So we're doing some work around it, and then the next step is to actually start leveraging our partners to actually help us out in different regions, because Claris is a small entity within Apple. There's only so much that we can do, and we have partners globally that do great stuff. So the idea is leverage them. There's a lot more stuff that we're doing currently with partners to leverage their help, their knowledge, because we can't just do everything on our own. So,
I think I learned recently that the number of developers in Europe is larger than the number of developers in the US.
Europe is doing very nicely. It's growing very nicely in every country, which is very nice, because sometimes you have this vision that essentially we have the English market being kind of big and the others being kind of smaller, and I mean, places like Spain is doing very well, and Japan is very big as well. But we have an increase pretty much across all platforms in Europe, and other places you have new people that just saw it once, played with it, and like, this is actually great. Like, because you can talk to everything.
There's a concert coming up in Turkey as well.
Yeah, there is a one-day event end of May, And yeah, it's because the thing is, it's like everything is once you actually start playing with FileMaker and you can go and talk to everything around it, you kind of go, well, actually, it'll just pretty much do whatever is in my brain. I know we had issues like sometimes there's a few bugs, but if you remove that and you basically just look at it and see what it can do, it's actually quite impressive. I mean, the stuff you did this morning was like, this is really nice. I mean, you just using sort of JSON, LD, and I mean, it's just, as long as your brain has the new sort of imagination, then you can actually sort of keep on moving forward. So
that's one of the things I said in my session is like, and which is I think a strength of what you said, which is that FileMaker developers are well positioned for it because we do have an understanding of the whole business. I think most developers are really thinking about how they can solve problems for their customers. And they're working with different departments, so they know more about the database than any one of the area. Of course, users probably know a lot that we don't, but that puts us in the position of being able to recommend to the decision makers uses for AI, do little proofs of concept with these use cases. So I really would love to work with you to build a stable of them and have them available somehow to make like a little library.
So you've already starting the Claris labs for us, Explorer, to actually get people to actually start using that. And we want to do more of that because we know that basically this is how people will actually sort of learn, is by hearing of use cases and seeing stuff like demos and even the one that we recently with Chris Hippolyte and running Rios on AI, we get a lot of feedback after people going that is what I need. Can I get the file? I'll play with it, but I've understood most of it. I just need to be able to actually sort of play with it.
Yes, I feel the same way.
And because I think is like when you're a FileMaker developer, you have this very visual aspect, but you have to be able to actually touch it.
Yes.
And that's how people learn in a lot of cases. I mean,
and what's great is the community shares.
So much stuff. And like today I was looking even on LinkedIn, the amount of posts from various partners where they sort of sharing demo files on how to use AI logging, how to unify searches across systems. And I'm like, this is absolutely brilliant. And when you look around on the platform, I don't really sort of see that much of it.
More competitive.
It's more competitive and people are less inclined to actually stuff, whereas this is just amazing. I mean, like we're having all the conferences in Europe and we had Engage and then we're going to have the Claris Japan in November time again. The amount of stuff that's been shared is just amazing. And people are really sort of happy to be able to actually share stuff, which is kind of amazing. So we want to keep on doing that and increasing it to the next level and help everyone across the planet. So.
Great. Who else, Claris, is here at this event?
So we had Benjamin Cottrell, who's the new European manager, and then we have Elena, who's our representative for Spain.
Okay. Okay.
So.
Are there reps for other countries?
So we have in London, we have a team that basically looks at the whole of Europe.
Okay.
So they'll be coming to the French conference in May. We're having, for the one in Istanbul, we'll have our partner Winsoft, Vocasa. Yes. We'll be flying out there.
And Winsoft works with me too. That's
so you work with them as well. There are conferences after, in October time, there's one in Germany, in Hamburg, which I'll be going to, and then we'll have our...
Oh, really? I don't think I knew about that one.
And we'll have the sales rep from Claris going there as well. There's a few, I think it's the pandemic era of not doing any live events is actually completely gone now. People want to go back into those. And we're very glad that basically we have so many partners willing to actually sort of run the events. We do sponsor pretty much all the events, and we're looking forward to be able to actually sponsor even more events. So if anyone wants to do other events, come and talk to us and we'll help you as much as we can. I forgot the one in Austria in June in Vienna called the Vienna Calling, which is the replacement of .fmp. That's going to be a great event because this is just about like networking and crazy FileMaker developers talking about crazy FileMaker techniques.
There's some really brilliant developers in Germany. And really just in Europe.
Yeah, in Europe we have some great talent. And .fmp, I think Vienna is going to be the same. It is really about purely exchanging ideas and weird stuff that people have actually done in FileMaker where you're like, what we do it? Like, because I can. It's fun for me to come to these conferences and feel dumb when I see some of the sessions, which means I'm learning, hopefully. When I go to Vienna or .fmp, there was some stuff like, oh, actually, I don't actually really understand why and how they've actually been able to do it, but it seems to be working. So this is a cool one. And for the one in Vienna, we'll have Clemerkel, who's the software architect of FileMaker, going. So if people want to go, they'll be able to actually meet the legend between the FileMaker engine.
And Clay is so nice too.
He's such a nice guy, and I think he's going to do a lot of explaining. Like he did one session at Claris Engage to kind of explain how we work more with the data that we're going to basically increase the usage that we do internally, everything that we do across JSON and XML, and it's going to open up a new world for FileMaker to be used with AI engine to do better thing around searching, but in the future as well, leverage what we have within the XML to be able to create layouts for you, automatically create fields, start giving you ideas on how to create a script and actually sort of do some stuff like that. So
where it's very AI automated.
So the future is
cool. I like when Clay's at a conference, he'll be sitting, getting ideas from people and talking to people, and then I'll have the code for FileMaker on his computer while sitting in a conference room, and he'll be working on things. It's pretty awesome to see.
He loves doing that.
I asked him how much it costs. Like if I give him a bribe for a feature, he wouldn't answer me.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't take bribery. No, he's.
Or maybe he didn't take me seriously enough because he didn't think I had enough money.
Well, if you're buying a nice old car, maybe he'll do something.
That's true. Didn't he restore an old Jag or something?
Yeah, he did. He's got quite a big collection of
nice.
cars.
Okay.
So he's a big fan of that. In his hometown of Porth, Texas, middle of nowhere.
Yes, so. I guess, but it's great. He's very much a member of the community. I like following his posts.
Yeah, so we're glad basically he's not yet retiring. So we already lost Andy LeCase this year, which was a real shame. But I think he wants to enjoy his life with his wife now and travel around the planet.
For a long time.
Yeah. So, but we have some new talent in the company. A lot of them, especially on the FileMaker side, they're being trained by Claire to actually make sure we have a knowledge transfers. And those guys are doing some nice stuff. Like the work they're doing on the XML is really, really cool. And coming sort of with a different vision of how it could be used, has been able to actually open up some new ideas internally.
Is there a reason that you couldn't switch from XML to JSON for all of the same backend stuff?
I think essentially it's because of XML allowed us to actually keep a very structured environment. And in order for everything to actually work properly, when the XML actually creates everything in the background FileMaker, having this XML schema controlled and properly structured made us basically in a position where we thought it's going to be safer going sort of that way. The other thing is on top of it, when you look at all of how AI plays around with XML to create, whether it's layout scripts, it really understands a lot better in a lot of cases XML than JSON.
Really?
Because with XML, it can't actually sort of create thing that doesn't exist. It has to actually fill exactly what's on the screen. With JSON is because when an element is empty, it doesn't actually put it in the system. It could go, well, you could create this new sort of whatever data type in your system and it allows you to actually sort of do it. With the XML, you're kind of controlling all of that. It's very structured, it's closed environment. So the AI agent is not going to be able to actually go mental and stuff that actually doesn't exist.
I have never really worked super detailed with XML. I've done like HL7 stuff and for medical, for public health, and obviously a lot of JSON. And you've done a huge amount of XML since back in the day.
I'm a big fan. I mean, I think both of them have actually got their advantages. It's kind of weird, like basically when JSON came around 20 years, even
it's a couple of years after XML, back in like the 80s.
But I remember like 5-6 years ago, everyone's going, XML's going to die, JSON's going to do everything for it. Now you're seeing basically that both of them have got their qualities and their problems. But in other cases, it's like, well, they serve the purpose, and there's no need to actually sort of kill something for us. If there's potential for both of them, they can actually be side by side.
Actually, it's kind of funny to think about it, but they've both been around for 30 years plus, so they're kind of the same age as FileMaker.
As FileMaker,
So it's definitely the case that a lot of technologies, or a lot of, for better, I guess they're similar to that, can stick around for 40 years and still be totally relevant.
Yeah. We have waves of technical sort of changes, and there's a lot of sort of the influence of marketing around all of that. What they're saying is, okay, we need to actually sort of kill that, and then it's sort of still around. I mean, if you look like a spreadsheet, it's been there for 50 years or 60 years, and it's still being used on a daily basis by so many companies.
Yeah, and they're basically the same.
So, I mean, part of the work that I do and we'll sort of work on that is we're trying to remove as much of the marketing hype from the rest of the market. Like the stuff that we on AI and all of that is trying is, this is the value you can get out of that. Don't actually sort of look at potentially some weird stuff that someone else is saying about competitors. This is the real world.